happy
We're alive.
people.
We're alive. We're alive. We're alive.
All right.
Uh,
Welcome, guys.
GM guys. Yeah, I hope everyone is having a fantastic week. And obviously, today is Friday, the last day of the week. So we're expecting this to be officially the last trading day of this week. Aside those that trade crypto or trade like tokenized stocks, yet except those ones. Well, officially today is the last trading day of the week. I come to think of it, next week is Christmas, basically. But yeah, what are you seeing in the market? For those just joining, please drop your questions on time. Today, I don't think we'll be doing more than 25 minutes. So leave your questions
Well,
on time. And projects you want us to talk about, please drop them on time. Yeah. So what do you think about the market? Yesterday, price action was extremely volatile. What do you think was happening there?
the thing is, everybody's just scalping, you know, looking at probably what to get before the end of the year.
Yeah.
As we were discussing before this before going live, uh, we've seen that Bitcoin is still around, approaching its resistance, and we're on Friday, right? The worst thing that can happen is we just get one of those pumps that is just to liquidate shorts, and then uh, dump that will liquidate longs. So just to wrap up the weekend. But that's
Yeah.
just basically it. Alts at the same time, alts are struggling, to be honest. You can see everywhere is basically red. Almost everything is red. Even if we get, let me use Sura as an example. Even if we get like a pump from Sura, it's going to basically be, because Sura has dumped so much that even if you have like a 2x pump, it's still going to almost be within the range of most people's entry, either a break even for most people
Yeah.
or still slightly below water, underwater for people. So that's basically what's happening. The market is just there. It's a scalper's market at the same time. If you
Your
scalp in the
voice is
wrong,
breaking.
I guess it's my network also. Well, it's just basically a scalper's market, but even if you're scalping, you still have to
Okay.
be a little bit careful. So that's my outlook on the market. There's nothing currently to be excited about. Next week is Christmas. We're in the holiday season. I don't generally expect to see a huge, improvement in the market all of a sudden, except it's a manipulated one, which, it can happen at any time. So that's just my outlook on the current market.
All right. So I hope you can see my screen. For those joining, please feel free to invite anyone and share also. You can see my screen, right?
Yeah. Yes, I can see your
Okay.
screen.
So yeah. So on Crypto Bubble, they're already letting us know that it's Christmas season. So I feel what we're seeing right now is just like the whole festive period volatility. Yeah. So I think market makers will try to like create a bit of excitement in the market and also in the process make some good money pump dump because by the time they pump the market, some persons will be trapped in long positions to get where they will go buy the top thinking everything is about to resume. And by the time they short it, some persons too might short aggressively, which they might long it immediately and liquidate them. So if you notice, that's what we've been seeing happening since Monday. If you notice from Monday till today, Friday, Bitcoin has played between 85, 86K and 90K about 3 to 4 times. But minimum of 3 times that it has ranged below that. So aggressively. Now that's the funny thing. Aggressively. It's not that Bitcoin has been taking its time to do it in this slow move up, then slow move down. No. Aggressively, most times a 4 hours candle, especially the dump and also to the long. In fact, both the longs and the dump. It's been so aggressive. So you can tell clearly that there are some market makers that are driving these prices. It's very obvious. It can't see that the exchange is doing it because exchanges now have grown to a point and level where they have so much liquidity. the business is profitable. They've made so much money over the years. Like, it's a sweet business now, owning an exchange, like very, very amazing business. So they have what it takes now. They have the capacity to drive prices of large cap projects. Like they really do have that capacity. If 3, 4 exchanges come together, they can actually pump prices of Bitcoin and Ethereum. And if you notice, it's majorly BTC and Ethereum that have been doing this wild swing towards the upside and the downside. You have very huge and long candles happening within an hour to 4 hours time frame. Okay, so it's been very, very interesting. But for people that have some basic guidance or mentorship or knowledge when it comes to trading, they would have been able to capitalize on most of those stuffs and not get slaughtered. And so for those of you joining, if you notice, since this week, we've been saying it that the trades that we've been taking majorly, it's BTC, Ethereum, BTC, Ethereum. Whereas for BTC, we shared some short ideas. But personally, I didn't short BTC. Ethereum, I didn't short. It was majorly long. Same with BTC. It was majorly long positions that I was actually taking. So if you've been actually sticking around and following what we've been doing here, you find out that at least you would have saved yourself a whole lot, and also you would have made some good money in this very volatile week. Now today is Friday. Let's look at the markets. Today is Friday. We're seeing pump. Now we usually know that on Fridays it's dump. Even coming from Thursday, you start seeing the dump from Thursdays, which we saw the dump yesterday. Thursday, immediately saw that yesterday pump. I was expecting a dump afterwards. We saw that dump yesterday, and we saw a pump early hours of today. Now the market has pumped. You can see this time around most alts pumped. The pump we saw the day before yesterday, Wednesday, most alts did not pump. They were just there. But this time around, we're seeing lots of green, and this is because, don't be deceived. This is because yesterday BTC dump messed most altcoins up. Yesterday BTC dump took Ethereum almost to about 2.7, slightly below 2.7, which it's been a while Ethereum touched that price. Okay, not by a while, I don't mean over a month, no. But recently Ethereum was able to go clear off 2.829 and stay above 3K and lowest 2.9. But Ethereum was brought down to slightly below 2.7 yesterday. And BTC towards about 85K and LTC almost at $73. So most altcoins were pushed below where they expected they would drop to. Even BNB dropped. Even Asta, we'll look at the chart shortly. You see most of those coins I was expecting to get into a box, they all got into that box. Giggle, Asta, all of them, they got into that box. So yeah, we can see some minor pump from altcoins this morning, which I said don't really be carried away by this. It's because of the dump we saw yesterday. And if we look to the 1 hour chart, find out that yes, most are still showing that sign of pump. But if you go to the weekly tells you the real story. So on the weekly, you can see these alts are down. Like this is, if you want to see the real story of what's really happening or what happened this week, you can see it here. So that's why I said don't be deceived with this stuff you see on a daily. For those that do swing, scalp. For the scalpers, this is amazing. The scalp, like they trade almost 15 minutes time frame, 1 hour time frame, 5 minutes time frame. For them, this is amazing. But for people that are more of like swing traders, try to hold trades for 2-3 days, probably a week or thereabouts, this is like their reality, basically, except for those that were actually on shorts coming in from Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, obviously, why not? They'll be in very good profits. But this is like the reality of the market this week. It's actually bad. It's not looking good at all. And obviously, if you go to the monthly, you find out that yeah, market is still very, very messed up. Now let's look at charts. Let's look at the charts. So I'll share my screen shortly, so we can just look at the charts. Yeah, please let me know if you can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
No, your screen is not live yet.
Okay, should be visible now. GM to everyone watching, please drop your questions on time. Very important. You can see my screen, right?
Yes, it's live.
Okay. All right, good. Fantastic. So this is what has been going on the market this week. This is what has been going on in the market this week. So personally, I'm sure most persons here should have been able to swing this market, this BTC price at least 3 times. For me, it's been 4 times though. The first time I exited somewhere around here and I got back in somewhere around here and exited around this point and got back in again around this point, exited somewhere around here. Most times I don't bother catching the highest price because once I see it, I started approaching this zone, I just set my trailing. Most times I even set my trailing from somewhere here, my trailing stop loss. But the thing is the margin, I can keep a very high margin. So what do I mean? For example, BTC is at 87K, it's going up. It's at 7K. I can set my trailing to be like, let's say $1,000 to get from here. It's 7K, $1,000. So what that means is if BTC corrects from here by 1,000 to 86, takes me out. You understand? Now, obviously, it will be rare for it to take me out. Very, very rare because it still rarely corrects by $1,000 at this zone. It is when it starts approaching this zone, that's when you might see that. Now, once it starts approaching this level, I go back and I adjust my trailing to like 500. Okay, that's what I do. I go and adjust it to like 500. So it continues. Let me change this to just so you guys can see something to 10 minutes. Good. So if you notice something, it's because I want to explain a particular thing. That's why I'm changing this. Now, if you notice something, let me take this stuff out so you can see this clearly. Okay, so if you notice something, you can see how it was moving here. Now, if you check the difference, it goes up. This 86, 850. It comes down. You can see the difference. The difference is not 3,000. It's 6,850. It comes down to 86, 300. The difference is not 3,000 because that's actually in stop loss works. It's marks that level and takes it as where it places your stop loss difference. So BTC got here, and let's say you have $1,000 difference for trailing. Your stop loss now become 85,830. So if it dumps to 85,830, which 85,830 is somewhere here, it takes you out. You understand? So it gets here. Remember, it's 1,000. It corrects to here, still up to 1,000. It gets here. Remember, it's 1,000 still. It's 8 something. It corrects to here. It's still up to 1,000. You understand? So that's what I'm saying. Once it starts approaching like the level of 8K, it's 8K and above. Once it starts getting to that zone, that's when I can now go and adjust it to 500, from 1,000 to 500, because I know it's approaching the resistance zone. So it's either it breaks or it gets there and it rejects and it starts crashing down. I adjust it to 500. Now, if you check, as it got here, just to zoom in, if you check as it got to this price and it came down a little, it's still up to 500. It got to this price, that's 89 for something. Okay, because it keeps adjusting your SL as it's going up. It's adjusting it. Now by 500. As it gets here, your SL would be difference of 500, which is like 800 or thereabouts. Now, does it correct to that much? Obviously, as it corrects from 89, 3 something to about 88, something, it has already taken you out. Like automatically, you don't need to be there. But if I had left my SL, my trailing stop loss rather, at 1,000, as it gets here, where it will take me out is at 88.3, 88.370. So if it dumps to 88,370, which is somewhere here, that's where it will have taken me out. You get, so at the end of the day, now this is the point. Assuming I left at 1,000, although I know I changed it to 500. Now, even if it was left at 1,000, this rate would have taken me out. Of which, by the time you factor in the entry, and it took you out somewhere here, 88.3 something, somewhere here, you find out that you still made very good profits. Like literally, you find out that you still made very, very good profit. So even on this current position, this one I got back in, not here, I got back in lower, somewhere around 85K. But I still left the stop loss here because this place is very good. So I still left it there, but I got back lower. So here, that's why I got back in. And I've already set my SL, my trailing stop loss, but it's at 1,000 for now. It's actually at 1,000, and I got in around 85,300 or thereabout. So it's got to a height of 88,300, which means my stop loss now is at 88,700. Sorry, 87,300 because it got to 88,300. So my stop loss is at 87,3 something because $1,000 difference, which you can see this is where it dropped to 87.6 something. So anything that makes it come down to here to take me out automatically, like automatically to take me out. There's no two ways about it, to take me out automatically. But if BTC price goes higher, maybe it gets here, to adjust my stop loss to 87,700 and something because it's still at $1,000 difference. But if it gets to around 88K, I'll change it to $500 difference. Once it stabilizes above this 88, I'll go and change it to about $500 difference. So by the time it corrects by 500, it takes me out. So when we say manage trades, this is what we're talking about. You have to manage your trade. Like there's no two ways about it. And the tools are there for you to manage your trade effectively, like effectively. The problem is most persons don't know how to utilize some of these stuffs. Most persons don't know how to. Yeah, they really don't know how to. While some, they are too emotional when trading the market, too emotional. So how do I mean by being too emotional? It takes them out of the trade and they go and get back in without waiting for it to get back to like a reasonable level or an entry level. You understand? They FOMO in. It takes them out of the trade. Okay, let me explain what I mean by most persons are too emotional. There are people that there are people that immediately starts moving. Like immediately, this was at a Monday or so. Immediately, this stuff started moving here. If they are setting that trailing stop loss, they'll set it to like $200. No, now that doesn't make sense. If you go to lower time frame, you see that BTC easily corrects by $200, and it will take you out. It might even take you out here from this very beginning here. That's already taking you out before it continues. You understand? So those are like some things you're supposed to pay attention to when you're setting most of these things. That is why if you have like TP1, TP2, TP3, and all of those things, once it gets to like TP1, you can now set that. You understand? You can now set that once it gets to like TP1. You can set that. So that way, as it is adjusting, it is able to automatically adjust your stop loss too for you. And also, as the price is also moving, you're checking the price action of that particular project. That would also guide you on how aggressive you want to be on your trailing stop loss level that you're setting. Imagine a 1 hour candle that ran like this all the way up this fast. What would you expect most likely? If it can't go above this resistance here, which we have already drawn this, you guys can see it. If it can't go above this resistance, one thing is certain, it will crash back. It will actually crash back. And here it attempted to again. It didn't even really get to that zone, but most persons were already anticipating it, and this was sold off. Now we're about to see it again a third time. If this fails again, there's a high chance that this might fail. Like there's a very, very, very high chance. So personally, I won't be trying to catch this trade again for like the fourth time. I would not be trying to. That's happened 1, 2, 3. I won't want to do it again for like the fourth time. I just free it and observe what happens, especially since we're on a Friday. If we're on a Monday, I might attempt to do that after looking at the overall structure. I might attempt to do that. But today, on a Friday, this chart towards evening, starts coming all the way down. I won't attempt to catch it again. Sincerely, I will not attempt to long it again. Yet. So it's very important you pay attention to most of these things. Instead, what I'll be attempting to do on a Friday is to short, because I know on Fridays the market tends to dump. So what I'll be trying to catch is most likely a short. That's what I'll be trying to catch. Understand? But right now, I haven't picked any short setup yet on BTC. So let's look at our Ethereum trade. Ethereum trade also presented an opportunity. I also got into a trade again back yesterday night. I got back into the trade again yesterday night. So the Ethereum trade has been twice. We've done that. We dropped this trade, was yesterday or day before yesterday. It moved, it got here, which is where you're facing that resistance, and there was a rejection. Still using your trailing stop loss, it saves you some good profit. Yet it saves you for some good profit. By the way, this Ethereum trade, I've already set up my trailing stop loss for this particular one right now. I've set it up already. Let me see if it has triggered. No, it hasn't triggered. It hasn't triggered actually. It hasn't triggered because Ethereum got here, and this is the lowest it dumped to from about 29.90. Let me just say 29.90, and it dumped to 29.30. Now it hasn't triggered because the difference I said is, I think, $70 difference. I think so. I think $70 difference. That's what I said. So it would need to drop all the way to. So I need to drop all the way to about this point to take me out of the trade. Assuming it doesn't go higher than this. Assuming it doesn't go higher than this. So I need to drop all the way to somewhere here to take me out of the trade. Either here or I think here. But somewhere around this zone to take me out of the trade. Which, if you check, is actually good profit, considering that I got in around 2,750 or thereabout. So it's actually good profit. It's very, very good profit. So you need to learn to manage your trades. Getting in is not enough. You don't just get in and you leave everything for fate or grace, whatever happens. No, you don't just do that. You need to learn to actually manage your trades. Like, very, very, very important. I would always say this. Like, I will always say this. Whenever you're in a trade and it is moving towards your direction, you have your TP1, TP2, TP3 or thereabout. Whenever you're doing that, use trailing stop loss. Trail the price of that asset. Trail the price so that you protect some profit. It's very, very important. And understanding how to set that trailing stop loss, the price difference, is actually a skill on its own, because it's not the same price difference that you use for BTC, which I just told you the one I use for BTC, 1K, 500, depending. It's not the same you use for Ethereum. It's literally not the same. Look at Ethereum run from 2008, 25. Look at the run all the way to about 300. This is a difference of roughly 200 and something dollars, or roughly $180. You get, now, if you go to lower time frame, it will give you a clearer picture of the realistic price difference that you're supposed to set to trail the current price of Ethereum, so that it's not every tiny correction that will take you out. If you were trailing this Ethereum price, let me go to 5 minutes. If you were trailing this Ethereum price and you use, let me say $10, you use $10. Let me just explain this briefly. We've passed 25 minutes. Let me just take this out so you can see the chart well. Okay, good. So if, let's say, 5 minutes, although this 5 minutes is too small, so 15 minutes is preferable. Okay, good, 15 minutes. Now, if, let's say, you use $10 to trail and let's assume you got in around here. Let's just assume you got in around here at 2804, and you set $10 trailing here. Now Ethereum went all the way to 2836, and after which it corrected to 2815 to take you out because it's $10. So immediately got to 2836, that's the highest point, and it corrects to 2826 to take you out. So you see that doesn't make sense. And why would you even set it here? You're never supposed to set it around here because there's a resistance here. So there will be some choppy price action here before it breaks out. You understand? But still, that difference is just too small. $10. It doesn't make any sense. So it will definitely take you out. Even if you had set $20, it got all the way to here, 2840, and it drops to here, 2813. It still takes you out. Like it literally still takes you out. So you want to ensure that you start setting those stuffs once you have your TP1, TP2, TP3, and you know the price difference in all those different ranges. And also you're seeing how the price action of how that particular asset is moving, correcting, moving, because it's moving in waves. You will now pick and decide the reasonable difference you should use to trail that price, which for Ethereum, $50 is not bad, $60 is not bad for Ethereum. You don't want to set $100 unless that $100 you're setting it from your entry. You're setting it from your entry, but still that doesn't make sense because that's why you have your stop loss. You understand? But unless here you're setting it from like your entry. So let's see you got in somewhere around here and you set difference of $100 and it gets up here and it drops to here. You're still in the trade. And it gets up here to 29. If you check all the way here, there's no way it's corrected by $100. No way. And it got up all the way to 29.33. You get, and it corrects all the way to here. You're still in the trade. It gets all the way to this point. So what's the price? It gets all the way to this point. That's 29.82. It corrects to here. You're still in the trade. But the only issue with that $100 and why you should reduce it as it's going up is this. It got up to 29.83. If it dumps, the only place it take you out is 28.83. That's too much. That's too much. Here you're supposed to have, as it's getting higher and higher to these zones, you're supposed to have reduced it. For me though, my strategy, you're supposed to have reduced it, maybe reduce it by 30%. You're supposed to have actually reduced it when it gets to this level. You understand? So you don't end up losing so much of the profit because you got in somewhere here. This stuff has run all the way to here. Still even $100 from here to there is almost $200. From here to 800 to here, about 29.8 is almost $200. So you're still leaving $100. Like you're saying, you want to lose half of what you had already gotten. So it makes sense you still drop that $100 by maybe $30, leave it at 70 or thereabout, which I said mine currently is around 70. Mine is currently around 70. So if it still keeps going higher and higher and higher, I can now choose to maybe reduce it. Once it goes above this zone, I can choose to maybe reduce it further and further. Or maybe I just leave it at that level. You understand? Now, most times it can break above a certain price, can actually break above a certain resistance level, and you won't even see the need to reduce it. You understand? Because by that point, you're already in good profit. So let's say Ethereum proceeds and hits our full TP. I've said this stuff before, that most times what I tend to do, I extend this full TP. I do it a lot. I extend this full TP. If I see that price is moving and I'm on my screen or I have access to my phone, I extend this full TP. Like I will extend it. As I'm extending that full TP, I know I have two things in place. My trailing stop loss, which is tracking as the price is moving. My trailing stop loss is actually tracking the price you get. I know I have that. Then I still have a second fail-safe mechanism, which is my stop loss. I adjust my stop loss and put it maybe somewhere here to still be below the trailing price, obviously, but I still put a stop loss because Bybit allows you to set stop loss and still have that trailing prices. It allows even Binance too allows you to do that. You can have stop loss and you can still be trailing the price you get. So I tend to have most of them as a second fail-safe. Reason, when chart is aggressively volatile, like you know that stuff where you just see 10 minutes candle, huge dump. some others might not peak. I've noticed it has happened before. Some others might not peak. So that is why I tend to still have like a feel safe, which is like adjusting that SL. So despite the fact that I have trailing stop loss, tracking the price, the whole aim of trailing stop loss is to make sure you're benefiting from every move towards your direction. That's the aim. So it is moving your SL to trail the price. If ETH pumps to like 4K, you will so benefit from it because it will adjust your SL from, if it was around 3K, it will adjust it to, if you are trading it by $70 and it pumps to 4K, it will adjust it to 3,930. And if that thing happened in a split 10 minutes, even if you're not with your system, you're not with your phone, you still benefit from it. So managing trades is extremely important. It is very, 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 very important. It's not just jumping into trades. You have to manage your positions. Like you literally have to manage your positions. Your biggest TC. I see you, bro. Thanks so much. Yeah, so if there's any question, we have already gone past 20 minutes, so 25 minutes. Now is the time for the questions before we round up. Yes, personally, do you have something you want to share? Before we round up, you have something you want to share? Yeah, I don't know. Are you there? Do you have something you want to share? Are you there? Okay, I don't know if you can hear us, but yeah, guys. So we've come to the end of today's live stream. This is the last. This is actually the last day of the week. Remember, we do this Mondays to Fridays. But I don't know. Are you there? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, my network was a little bit lagging.
Oh, okay, no problem. Yeah, so for those that are in our channel, we'll keep observing what's happening in the market. And should we see a short position, be sure we'll share it. Although I can see some good points to short Ethereum if it gets to those points. Hopefully it does. Ethereum gets to like this level, this is a good position to short. This is also a good position to short. But at the same time, there's also, just looking at the charts right now, there's also like a trend line that's forming, that we have like a trend line that has formed where it's looking like Ethereum might break. Well, I can't see. It's Friday. I can't see anything yet. So it's just to observe and see what's going on and how the markets will react to this. But obviously, we can see like this trend line liquidity here. Tapped first time, second time. This is the third time, basically. Yeah, so hope you're managing your trades. Hope you've adjusted either your SL or set trading stop loss, whichever. Just hope you've actually done that. If you haven't, please ensure you do it. All right, guys. So that's all we'll be taking for today. And see you guys Monday. Every other trade idea will be communicated. Now, mind you, this stop loss is not this take profit is not the actual one. This is just based on what we were talking about today. I think this TP is somewhere around here. Yes, this is where the TP for this trade is. That's where it is. So before you go and start thinking it's up here. But like I said, I always tend to adjust mine as long as it's moving towards my direction and I know profit is protected. All right, guys. Thank you, guys, and see you guys on Monday. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.